Hi everybody, welcome to G for G here on Marvel Avengers Alliance on YouTube. Today's background music is brought to you by Programming Music Mix for Fast Minds. And today, as we near the end of the game with just a few days left, we're going to take a look at some of the bugs that still exist in the game today at the end of the game's life cycle. So, first thing I'm going to do is talk about the ones that I have seen, and then I'm going to go through the wiki and talk about the ones that they are still talking about on the wiki and aren't cleared. So, one of the big bugs that a lot of people are noticing lately, and this is mostly due to Faiza Hussein, is that Mephisto has been bugged throughout the many centuries of playing this game. And if you do certain things to him in combat, especially if you're locking him down with Faiza's Hippocratic Oath, he goes into an endless cycle. Not only does that happen there, but a lot of times Mephisto just kind of bugs out in general and does crazy stuff. So Mephisto has been bugged for a long time, and he's never really been fixed. Before I jump further into the bugs, I just want to point something out over here, as I have finally done it. In the 4 years plus of playing this game, here it is, folks. The final roster. Everybody is 15. A-Bomb and Gambit were the last two. Not that A-Bomb or Gambit deserved to be it, it's just the way it was working down the stretch. So there it is. There is all 15 with a skew towards Tactician and Blaster bonus. Kind of sad, isn't it? But hey, at least it got done. And I still had 4 million silver to boot. So that didn't get into too much danger. One of the other bugs that I have seen for a long time, and I have done at least a couple of tickets on, and that is pre-action buffs in combat. Now, this actually showed up in the latest video that I did with Adam Warlock and Carolina Dean. I looked at the enemy team and did not see a Mystic Shroud, and there didn't seem to be any notification of it, but it was definitely there. So I proceeded with an attack as if they did not have a Mystic Shroud, and unfortunately they did. You know what? I use Spitfire so much, I'm going to bring in somebody else that I don't use a lot. Well, not that I don't use Phyla, but let's give Phyla some time in the sun here before the game ends. So things like that, like you may not necessarily know everything the enemy team has going on until you take the first action of combat. Now, usually, activating a class bonus like this works. However, the level 15 bonus, really in the lifespan of the game, has not been that long. So prior to level 15, you would not know about all of those buffs until you actually did a legitimate action. And sometimes that could really set you up for some failure. I mean, imagine during the Pesty era of playing the game, if you wanted to open up with the X-Obliv, like say neither of the sides had Pesty, but you wanted to open up with the X-Obliv, and then suddenly, after wasting that long cooldown, you discover, oh shit, they had a Mystic up. That's a problem. And I've reported this before, because where it most affected me was Psylocke, X-Force Psylocke, is permanently stealthy. Like, say, a Quickfire, a Quicksilver, or a Spitfire. If you go to attack before her passive kicks in, and there is a tank on the enemy team, somebody who intercepts attacks and protects against them, well, yeah, guess what? Psylocke gets protected against. So that was always a major problem for me, and I never liked that, and I've done tickets on it, but it still exists today. One of the other bugs that I have reported on is the fact that the lightning strike is still bugged. So the lightning strike, there are two versions of this. It is that that winged thing on the stick that applies strengthened to your team and also gives you the ability to follow up with the lightning strike. There is the turn-consuming one, and then there is the quick action one. Both of those have a bug when used that sometimes your allies will dodge the application of it. So you go to use it on your team, and members of your team will dodge it, which means they have dodged a friendly buff. And that is ridiculous. I don't understand the coding of that, in that they allow that to happen. I mean, no other positive benefit in the game that I know of can be dodged. I've never seen somebody dodge Heimdall or a Chaos Shield. Chaos Shield fails, but that's different. I know of no other buff in the game that literally fails to apply because of your character, not the ability itself. So there's a high chance that you might not ever get that thing on Quicksilver, like, due to his natural evasion. I mean, I don't know if that could be part of the issue, that the character's own evasion is being calculated for that buff. But that is still happening, and that is still happening as of the month that the game is going under. That's for sure. I know that one for a fact. The Hexenjäger has a bug that I think still exists. And in order for me to try this bug, I would have to suicide my agent, and I think I will actually try that one on the video today, because I do have ways of doing that. What was happening with the Hexenjäger was, in the time of Elsa being a very strong PvP contender, especially on offense, if you had magic warding from the Skeptic or something else like Black Knight or whatever, and you killed the person providing the magic warding went away, and your team was free to go ahead and attack the enemy team with magic, and it works. With the Hexenjäger, what would happen is you would kill the enemy agent and magic warding would stick around. So I'm actually, let's try that in the simulator right now. I think this has never been fixed, but I could be wrong. And believe me, at the time of Elsa, this was ridiculously obnoxious due to the fact that Elsa was magic-based. I wanted to get rid of magic warding so that I could actually get magic out, and it failed. And that was really, really annoying, because it was really crucial for me to not have to deal with that. Alright, so let's get the Hexenjäger. And let's get the Chalice so that I can commit suicide. Well, no, actually, I don't want the Chalice. What is it? I want the Phoebe. I don't have the... You know, I should try and go farm for the Power of 4. Just to... Where are you? There you are. Just to say I got it before the game ended. I know of some people that are going back and doing stuff like that. And I need another piece of... So let's get the Vampire Suit. Okay, so what's going to happen is I am going to commit suicide. Well, I need a fight with multiple enemies. I'm going to commit suicide, and we will see if magic warding disappears. Doc Ock, that would be a good one today. Go Cosmic Decimator there. Huh, and I got an extra turn off of it. So, alright, to confirm. Magic Warding, Magic Warding, Magic Warding. And now I will banish this guy. My agent is dead. Magic Warding. We'll give it a turn, okay? So, after that SC Delta goes, it will be turn 2, and we will see if Magic Warding remains. Now, the Hexenjäger did drop off a little bit. Nobody was running it down the stretch the way people did back when they were afraid of the null meteor stacks and potentially Elsa and everything like that. But it's still a bug that needed to be fixed because this is not an intentional thing. And you could say, well, maybe they did intend it to happen, but the skeptic defies that. I think it stayed. So, yep, Magic Warding still stayed. So, there's a bug that I know has been reported, and I know has been reported multiple times, and it hasn't been fixed. I also dislike the, and this one is debatable if it is a bug or intentional. I dislike the fact that if you have an ability that restores your health and stamina on a kill, like Voracious Vixen, that if you have Despair, that you don't restore the stamina. And that seems to not make sense to me. It should be that your health bar is different from your stamina bar, and if you are intended to regain stamina, you should be able to do that regardless of what is going on with your health. Because under normal circumstances, Despair does not stop stamina gain. Okay, so we know that particular bug is still in effect. Now let's talk about the ones that are listed on the wiki that are, at least for me, unconfirmed, and you can let me know in the comments below if you still find them to be active. Ant-Man, the Scott Lang version. Shot at Redemption sometimes does not proc, and he can be in a state of immortality. Anti-Venom, Dark Force Symbiote is not regenerating stamina. Astral Aggressor from Baron Mordo is not bypassing cage effects, even though it is supposed to bypass cage effects, and it is in the tooltip. Beast, in his Beast mode, not his Pesty mode, is able to still proc point counterpoint even if he's stunned. Black Knight, Chivalrous Duty, if an ally or enemy with Magic Warding attacks, he can gain up to 3 stacks of Sword of Light buffs from one attack. Valinor applies Intimidated even if it misses. That one might be easy to confirm, obviously. Black Widow, the Age of Ultron version. Picking up is able to counter stealthy and psychic attacks. That's a common thing with people that have, like, Combo Breaker and pre-counter stuff and everything. Cable, Telekinetic Slam misses even though it's catastrophic. A more recent addition to the list, Tammy. Grit Reserve heals and consumes stacks of grit on everybody more than just her. So if anybody else on the field has grit, they will consume their grit and they will get a heal. Chase Stein, Talkback procs even when he is afflicted with either off-balance or off-balance type effects. The Asynchronous Denouement, which is when Old Lace joins in on that person's attacks on that enemy. For some reason, if the enemy is affected by fried circuits, Old Lace is not joining in. It seems weird. Daredevil, Sweats Devil, his World on Fire is able to counter stealthy attacks. Sometimes his abilities miss, even though he has guaranteed hit. And he follows up or counters with Billy Club instead of Imperious Indictment, which is the renamed version of, at least I think so, That is the rename version of that ability for that outfit. Which means you would never be able to ISO anything for that. Domino. Aerodynamite applies incapacitation and disoriented even if it misses. And around the world sometimes hits one target, generally in the middle. We've seen stuff like that. There's been several abilities that have done things like that. Doctor Strange, terrorism boost, when it is used by the AI, sometimes only hits the middle ally. Power of the Principalities, if he has stalled and attacks can't be a quick action, using the terrorism boost, vapors, or the shield still consumes the power of Principalities, even though the result is not a quick action. That one I kind of understand a little bit there. Drax, all abilities, Bleeding Heart with Praetorian Guard, otherwise Scutum, can trigger more than once. Falcon's friends in high places can sometimes freeze the game after triggering. In all honesty, I've actually never seen that happen. That is not something I've ever seen crash the game. Fandrel's On Guard does not apply on guard sometimes. I've heard about that one for a long time. That bug has haunted Fandrel quite deeply. Phantom X, LZ, if this move kills the last enemy in a wave, Ava's sprite appears, but the actual effect is not applied. They have a lot of issues in this game with end of wave mechanics. That's another thing that has haunted this game for a long time. Like, if a tactician ends a round by killing a blaster, technically in the next round you think you should go first. Or immediately have two actions the next round. Fixer, Sonic Cannon misses sometimes despite if he is catastrophic. Self-destruct does not trigger if killed by dots. This game has an issue when people die. If they die to dots, follows up or counters. We've known that, and one of the most affected people of that seems to be Null, because there are times when his meteor stacks do not go away if he's killed that way. Gamora, Nowhere to Hide, Movie Gamora, attacks do not gain guaranteed hit when hitting allies. Hey, you know what? Who's going to complain about that bug? If you're mind controlled into your own team and it's not guaranteed hit, who cares? Hawkeye, Rapid Fire, also triggers against other targeting effects, even though this is not listed. Again, who's going to complain? Just makes it better. Hawkeye Avenger Suit, Be an Avenger, applies interrupted even if the attack misses. Heimdall, the Eternal Vigilant, procs even when he's afflicted by stun. That one actually could be quite dangerous. Stunning Heimdall to avoid shit like that and still having him do it could be bad. Hellcat's Laceration applies remove buffs before hitting, making it apply even if this attack misses. That's pretty nasty. Regular Hulk War Frenzy, a stack is not consumed even after an attack. Age of Ultron Hulk. Neutralized is not removing his Hulk up, and Giant Size Hulk Smash misses despite the fact that it's catastrophic. Hybrid Painfully Aware counters missed summon attacks. That's interesting. Fist of Fusion on Hyperion seems to apply Scrappy Sentiment before the actual attack, making him have that Scrapper bonus right then and there. Supreme also triggers at times that makes no sense even if he was KO. I don't know what the deal is with that one. Solar Shepherd also applies Bruise Benefit when hit by a buff. That's kind of neat. Buff the shit out of Hyperion and give him his bruiser stacks quickly. That's cool. The Apocalypse version of Iceman, Absolute Zero, is not unlocking additional effects. Iron Fist, when counters, interrupted is not applied to the enemy and can still do their follow-up counterattack. That one might have gotten fixed. Let's see what other ones are relatively decent. Kang, ripple effect, counters enemy follow-ups and counters, but does not actually interrupt them. Kate Bishop's Hawkeye passive does the same thing that it does for Hawkeye. Knight America, Land of Opportunity, also counters stealthy attacks. Loki going invisible. Magic has got a lot of buffs. Stepping Razor can avoid catastrophic attacks. One Soulfire charge is applying both Dark Void and Soulfire, but full charges of Soul Charge are not applying Soulfire. I think that has to do, as Alex pointed out, as being an issue with her ISO that makes her gain the 2 charges instead of 1. Mantis, we have a new one here for this one. Cosmic Calculations also counters psychic attacks. Mockingbird, Mock Combat, changes her class and grants her a secondary generalist class. Not too sure what that's about. Molly, this is one that really annoyed the shit out of me back when I was dealing with the pesky Red Hole teams in my Molly and Hafe era of offense. When having cornered before using Raspberry, Tamper Tantrum does not activate on the next round. So essentially, she has to do the... She cannot go into the Tantrum on her second round. You have 2 rounds of building up towards it, and then finally you can Tantrum in the 3rd round. I hated that, because Pesty was really big on that. Nico's back from the brink. When hit by a follow-up attack, the first hit takes the hit point down to 0. The follow-up will not proc a resurrection, and then sometimes causes an instant kill. Oh, we definitely saw stuff like that down the stretch. Whiff of Brimstone on Nightcrawler can avoid catastrophic attacks. Kid Nova's Black Nova Helmet can counter stealthy attacks. Phoenix Cleansing Fire doesn't work. Death and Rebirth sometimes makes people immortal. That one was still existing somewhat recently. Psylocke, Psychic Scanning does not guarantee preemptive attack against psychic attacks. Yeah, that one's never been very good. Mental Coordination sometimes does not apply Psionic Shadow. There's a note there that it happens more on slower PCs. I can't say that I've ever noticed that one. Punisher's Eye for an Eye counters Stealthy. The Red Hulk absorbing energy multiple times. We have since figured out that has to do with his heat level. Rogue's ubiquitous power does not have any effect in her classy rogue outfit. Vibro Shockwave does not start cooldown like it is supposed to when it comes to Shatterstar. Kurth has got a lot of listed things like Rune of Fear can interrupt subtle attacks. She follows up or counters with a Brawl instead of Stonebreaker. That one's fine because then that means she can't be baited into popping runes on counterattacks. Otherwise everybody would just like run a Neurotrope and make her pop runes on counters. I actually like that one. Spitfire, Fiery Fists, and Attack Runs sometimes do not show damage properly. Absolutely. Squirrel Girl, Summon Attack can be countered even though, or Furry Fury can be countered even though it's a summon attack. Ducks in a Row, for Cosplay Squirrel Girl, this buff can permanently be removed by Winded. Storm Electrify does not deal electricity damage to attackers. I can't say that I've seen that one. X-23 Trigger Scent. Enemies with phase still draw her attacks despite being unable to protect. don't know, because I think that actually acts differently than the protect effect. Assassin Strike for War X-23 is stealthy on the team page, but it's not in combat. That's a very interesting bug. Let's see what ISOs I'm missing out on over here. Have that. Have that. No, nothing to respin on that one. Alright guys, so there are the bugs that we are still dealing with at the end of the game. The ones that I listed in the beginning from my list, I know are still happening. The ones listed on the wiki may or may not still be in effect. So down in the comments below, guys, if there are bugs that we didn't cover that are long-standing bugs, I mean bugs that have been around in the game for at least half a year, let me know. Or if there were any long-standing bugs that were eventually fixed, Kate Bishop's boomerang error notwithstanding, definitely comment below. And let's just reminisce about the bugs that we have dealt with in this game. We can throw in an honorable mention to PvP matchups. A lot of times when you are gold and silver, and this doesn't fix until you get into diamond, you can be placed in matchups with people more than 200 points away from you. You could be at 1,000 rank and be paired up with somebody in the 700s. For some reason, in gold and silver, and at least partially into diamond, you often get people that it's a very unfair match, be it in your favor or against your favor, and Playdom has never really dealt with that, and that has haunted them for a very, very long time, because it often makes it hard for people to get out of gold and silver, because they get 6s and 7s and 8s, and God forbid they lose to somebody who's well below them, they drop 20. And the same thing for their defensive team. If they're at 1,000 and they're attacked by somebody who's at 700, who maybe just, you know, didn't really start their PvP, they just unlocked it but didn't have time, and now they're building up, that 1,000 person's going to lose like 30 points, but it's a matchup that should have never happened. The system works. The point spread is exactly what it's supposed to be, but it's still a match that should never be happened. It's like a third grade first time chess person being paired up against Bobby Fischer or Big Blue. That's not a matchup that's going to end well. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.